the problem I have now is if you look into the motors, you'll see that there's a palm frond has these really tough fibers in them. So I've got to get those fibers out. But I want to make sure that they're clean because I want to go out and fly again. I really want to get another flight. So anyway, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to remove each of the 4 props, and then I'm going to clean out those stators and get all of the. You can see the winding. There's just that palm fiber wound in there. It's just really in there good. And there's some in both rear motors, but what a good time. All right. Hey, this is Dad Random. And I just finished a quick test flight using the motion controller. And I've just got to share with you how fun it was. It was really super fun. And the flight that I just got done finishing quickly spiraled out of hand because I literally was having that much fun. And you'll see in the video, I have a video of this amazing mishap. Most of you guys have taken a FPV quad out of a tree before. It was my first with the Avata. I had to fish it out of the tree, but it was a good time. I just wanted you to know that I, even after crashing it into the tree and getting it stuck up there, I was basically going amazing, just amazing, amazing, amazing. So I didn't fail to crack a smile. So anyways, the problem I have now is if you look into the motors, you'll see that there's a palm frond has these really tough fibers in them. So I've got to get those fibers out. And really the only way to do that is to remove all the propellers. I probably could do it without that, but I want to make sure that they're clean because I want to go out and fly again. I really want to get another flight. So anyway, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to remove each of the 4 props, and then I'm going to clean out those stators and get all of the. You can see the winding. There's just that palm fiber wound in there. It's just really in there good. And there's some in both rear motors, but what a good time. So I think the verdict is definitely out on this. I don't think we're getting a very fair analysis of how cool this controller is and how simple it was to just quickly switch over. So to be quite honest, I could do a whole video on that. I'll make sure I cover it just really quick here, but yeah, to switch over is really simple. A lot of FPV guys that do a lot of FPV flying, you get yourself a single system where the binding procedure is really simple, and that's what this one is. So to be very, very honest and quick, basically power up the Avata and power up the motion controller. Okay, now you've got I'm still learning the buttons, so on that side. When you've got it, basically both of them powered up, you don't even need the goggles on at this point because they were already bound to the goggles when it came. Hold down the power button until you hear it beep. Hold down the Avata button. I suggest you turn the Avata on, make sure it's powered up, and then get the binding, put it in binding mode. So once you get it powered up, just hold the power button for just a few seconds and it'll go into binding mode. And then hold the motion controller, put it in binding mode, and just wait a few seconds and you will get an audible beep. Okay, the lights do change, but you'll be able to tell that they're bound. They'll be solid. I think they're solid lines on the motion controller. That's the big one. All right, so that's it. And that's all I did this morning. And I'm like, all right, to make sure it's bound, and I've never flown this. So I took it out to the front yard and I started flying around. up and down the street. I usually don't do that, and especially with Steve around. And I started flying around the yard, and I went over to my neighbor's yard, and I was going through, and I got really excited. Then I went out further, and I went into my other neighbor's yard, and they have some really tall palm trees. Thus, I got very close. There's not a lot of responsiveness, even in sport mode, so you have to give this a lot of room. You'll see I'm going to do another test flight here in just a little bit. But I'm going to fly in with motion controller today, all day long, motion controller. So you can truly get a feel for what it's like for me to fly it. Super simple. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and clean out my motors, and we're going to do some more flying. All right, Dad Random with the DJI Avata motion controller. So, all right, Dad Random, cleaning the motors. Be right back. So what I have here is one of these standard sets that I've ordered. A lot of people suggest that you get a set that with individual screwdrivers. This one is the one I use for all of my my T-mounted props. So we're going to take these off. Oh, I don't need to take those off. Hold on, we're not going to take these off. I think it's good maintenance as well to just check your screws. Just going to go snug those back up a little bit. Don't snug them too much. They just need to be barely snugged on. But this is a nice little set. They're not expensive. Even the sets that are dedicated are really good. So but just be careful not to lose your screws. I suggest you take the box and use that as a tray. And they loosen up quite quick. I have never removed, there it is, they come right off. Holy crap, that's actually a little bit easier than I thought. All right, now I'm missing a screw. Is it in there? Nope. Well, you've got to find it. I know I've got extra screws, but look at that. Look at the fiber that comes out of there. Oh, there it is. There's our two screws. Remember what side is up and what side's down, flat, and looks like there's a crowned one. This is a pusher prop, so this would be down for us, okay? The pusher prop. So it'll go like that. Let's move that out. So that was easy to clean out. Just double check, look inside to make sure there's no windings in there. And we'll do the same thing for this backside over here. Do not be afraid of disassembling your Cinewhoops or your FPV quads. This is about the only thing that I like to do as far as general maintenance, replacing and repairing. I am going to build this winter. I really do want to build. I'm going to unwrap it the opposite way that it wrapped on there, and I'm going to make sure we get all the fibers out of there. There are a lot in there. And in the case of this one, I might have to remove the entire motor. I'd rather not, so I'm going to see if I can get it out of there. But it is really wound in there. But most of the time, I mean, it's just working in there. And it got in there good. And this one I might have to loosen the motor from the mount. I don't want to mess with it too much because I don't want to. Oh, there we go. We're gonna have to take this one off. This, I think, even though it is free, it could affect whether we get heat buildup. And let's make sure we separate our screws out. Would I replace these motors? Yeah, maybe. I'd say in a future project. There's our screws there. We got 4 screws. They do suggest you use Loctite. I think with a regular maintenance program, you really don't have to. Wow, look at all that. I think Loctite is important. But if you check your screws, look at that, you can already see right in there. Look at that, there's so much in there. So I'm going to need to get something pointy or sharp. And I'm just going to just slowly work it out of there, just unwind it. But we want it all out of there. I might have to go to a blade, so I'll be right back. I think I'm going to need an X-Acto blade to get some of those out of there. So all right, back with the kit. Probably I have some things that I don't even use anymore in here, but yeah, I got all kinds of stuff. Shrink. I've got these old. I've got this old gas. I should probably get rid of this thing. Old butane soldering iron, 2 of them. That's where I started. But one is the X-Acto, and here it is right here. Just full of random parts. Dead random and random parts. I'll probably never use these again. I do have an electric one now, a nice one that works just fine for most of what I do. So let's go in here. I want to get that out of here, out of there. So I'm just going to take my time, just work it out. Don't want to get into the motors at all. I just want to get this stuff out of here, and you can see the losing screws. There's quite a difference between the sizes of the screws, the motor mount screws, and so you shouldn't have any trouble later. Just don't lose them. That's the big thing, is just generally losing things. But I'm just going to let stuff fall on the table. And we are in no hurry. We do not want to be in a hurry when we're doing surgery like this. We want it to be slow. And if you do have a magnifying glass, it might help, so you know where you're getting. I have yet to buy a good one. There are some really good ones out there. Some good magnifying glasses that you can, and then light it up a little bit better. I think I can get it out of there though. It contrasts a lot. So there, I think we got it out of there. Now we just gotta get those fibers out of there. But yeah, general maintenance. But what I ended up using was a pole handle, a handle for a pool sweeper. Worked really good, an extension pole. It had plenty of length on it, and then I took a piece of wire and I attached the wire hook, and I formed it into a hook. There, I think I got it all out of there. You can see it's clean, and I didn't do anything drastic. Let's see, I think I have a little bit more in there on the inside. Get that out of there. There we go. It probably would have worked its way out, but we are not going to take anything for granted with our investment here. And every one of these quads that you buy it's an investment, isn't it? It's an investment in our fun. So, all right. I think we're good. We got all that fiber out of there. DJI does build things nice. Look at that. That is just a nice build. And look at that. You can see that the motors are, see that? Those have gold on them. And that's for the gold prop. And that's for the prop without the gold on it. So we know left from right. Pretty simple. Oh, we got our screws coming out. Let's go ahead and reassemble. For all my screws, there's another one. All 3 of them are out now. Probably the biggest problem we'll have is to get them started. So we're going to go ahead and set that down. Take one, put it on the screwdriver. Use gravity as our friend. You do not want to tighten each one individually. You want to tighten them just sequentially. But so I didn't tighten that. I just got it in there snug. So if you ever do get, if you live in one of those climates where you're going to get a lot of fibrous plants, includes grasses. Usually a grass is not going to give you this tough fiber. Palm trees are actually a grass, but they are notoriously tough. So I'll go ahead and get this one in here. And we'll go ahead and just, so this is just a replacement. If you want to replace these motors, they are especially tuned for this specific quad. There is only one motor mount that fits so far as a replacement, and I don't even suggest that you replace this. If you ever swap these motors out, there's really no need to do it. But am I afraid to do it? Nah, I would do it. I would do it. But there it is. That's on there snug, and it feels good. Look at the rest of them. Give them all a visual. There's nothing in any of these other ones. So there it is. That's it. That's all I had to do. Now I just got to put the props on the correct here. Let's double check to make sure all the screws are tight. Snug. Remember the word snug versus tight. That looks great. All right. Should look great because it's a brand new quad. So this is remember the flat end goes down. And there are little pegs. If you see really close, there's little pegs on there. And those pegs will go into the holes that you do not put screws in. So you want to put it on and then spin it a little bit so it drops in there like that. You can feel it just kind of dropped in. Then take two of your motor mount screws. These do have Loctite on them. Old Loctite, but we're not going to put any more on at this point. We'll just check them periodically. I suggest, like I said, you get a little tube of Loctite, and you just put a small dab on the tips of your screws. And you can buy that at any hardware store, but you want the blue stuff, the blue Loctite. And I'm just going to snug these down. Make sure it's spinning without that there's no rubbing, so we know they're on. We got this one. Ooh, that one stayed in there, but there it is. There's the bottom. You can see the little tiny. You see those little tiny they call them bushings or something. Little pegs. Okay. If it was a bushing, it would go around, but yeah, it's got a little bit of fiber on there. Let's make sure it's off the prop. Now check your props. Now, a normal amount of wear would mean that the edges would not be smooth. This one you can get away with a fair amount of wear on the props. I would just fly them out until they get a gouge in them or something, and then just some people like to replace them in pairs, kind of like tires. I just replace them as they need them, or if I'm changing out colors or something. So we'll put that back on there. But motion controller today, gosh, what a fun crash. And that was one of those things I would consider to be a fun crash. It was fun. It was fun, and it was fun because I knew I could. I didn't know I could get it out of there. I was a little bit nervous, but I had so much adrenaline. Maybe that was a little too tight for the first prop. I had so much adrenaline flying through me. They call them the endorphins. I don't know if that's what you get when you run. If you're a runner, that feeling of excitement puts out these chemicals called endorphins. So I was happy to crash today. All right, we got that in there. All right, so we're ready to go. Like I said, looking for any other fiber in there. Double check my other props, making sure there's no. These are good. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to over tighten them. I just want to make sure there's no loose ones. And I might want to check the mounts while I've got a little bit of time. I'd see everything is pretty good. Just double check everything. Make sure there's nothing that vibrated. but you definitely don't want to over tighten things. Over tightening is just not good. And so we're good. All right. But see, there's a little bit of wear you can see on some of these props, but there's just, the edges are pretty good, pretty smooth. So I am not going to worry too much about them. Now, you can see sometimes there's some plastic that starts to roll over. Like there's a little bit of plastic starting to roll on that. You can see that probably is close to replacement, but a lot of people will fly with much worse. So I'm going to leave these on. All right, the repair is done. Let's go fly. Like I said, make sure you don't have any more of that fiber, that palm fiber. That stuff is terrible. And then maybe clean off your lens a little bit, do a little dusting of the lenses. Looks like it's pretty good. And like always, replace the gimbal guard if you can. And yeah, this should be getting a little bit beat up. Should be. Fly it hard. Always remember to put this in your goggles as well. Protect those lenses. All right, so for Dad Random, a little bit of breakdown, little prop repair, real simple tutorial there. A little bit of binding for the motion controller, and I'm gonna be out flying. It's Saturday. It's cool now. It's a great time of year for me. It is now in the 70s during the day, and there's actually a little bit of wind in the air, but just not too much. So I'm gonna get this thing. Maybe I'll fly it in the yard again. It was kind of fun flying around the yard, but yards have trees, don't they? All right, later. Dad Random, Avata. Repair and connecting the motion controller. Not bad. Actually, pretty fun. I did have some fun. Later. Bye. Dad Random. Yeah.